Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backsliding.
And surrounding table like we do at home at the kitchen table. I'm your host, Dr. Smith. I will lead compelling, relatable, and honest conversations. My guests will range from community leaders, professionals, and real people whose stories will touch and inspire you. Discussion will center around relationships, real stories of personal struggles, amazing triumphant, and compelling topics in the news, pop culture that captures our cities and nation's attention. If you would like to be a guest on the kitchen table, you can email us at kingdombuildersworldwide2@gmail.com, or you may contact us at 269-962-5553. Before I introduce to you my guest, Mr. Dave Morgan, I'd like to thank my producer, Tiffany Smith, Ronnie Hoyt, Mike Campbell, Carl English, Facebook Live engineer Mike Bolden, camera Yvonne Armstrong, my co-host Doug Jones, and program coordinator Kara Bolden. My vision is to catalyze, energize, and bring people together. I want to share some things that I think is extremely important. If we're going to be successful, we have to get into the network, and we have to know who's in the network. I believe reawakening African people is important, and that's what I intend to do, to make sure we take our place in the world alongside with all the others in the world, because that is our rightful spot. As a leader in the community, hope I'm a leader in the community. That's what they did in Africa, and that's what we're trying to do here. We set out and we share the story. I'm so elated and honored and excited to introduce to you our brother, our friend, Mr. Dave Morgan. All right, y'all, let's welcome Mr. Dave Morgan. That's our intro we do quite often. And you know, this is going to be a very exciting show, so you all come on. We're going to kind of just do a little intro of some things we're going to discuss. I do not play the games of tricking people. That's not my style. This brother that's sitting next to me on my right, I got to know him briefly. Very nice person. I like what he's attempting to do. And before I do anything, I want you all to know that he is a candidate for a position for the State House. He's going to talk about it. And then we're just going to have conversations. We're going to encourage you to chime in. I'm going to lay some foundation rules, what I think we as a community, now yes, this is really for everybody in the community, but obviously we're also addressing some of the concerns in our own community. But before we do anything, we briefly introduce yourself, sir, and of course that our co-host, just give a brief name, because I'm going to come right back and get you to do a whole lot of talking. So just tell us briefly your name, and I think I see a nice little girl you with on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dave Morgan, I'm a candidate for the 62nd District that Dr. Bison currently holds. I'm on the Republican side. I'm a former, actually, Democratic chairman in Calhoun County, which makes it a little bit interesting. Switch sides, and we can talk about that a little bit later. And you want me to...
Do you got a daughter?
Oh, yeah, of course. Jaden, she's
yeah.
11 years old. She's at Lakeview Middle School, sixth grader. United States veteran, served in the 110th out at the Air National Guard Base. Also served in Desert Storm. 1990 to 91, I was on President Bush's security force, so I was honored to do that.
Doug, why don't you go ahead and let the world know you one more time before we get going?
Doug Jones, born and raised here in Battle Creek. Spent some time in the military. Came back to Battle Creek, worked, have 3 kids, 2 grandkids.
Right. All right. So basically, what we're going to do today is we're obviously going to be dealing with some political things. Why? Because we have an individual that is good chance that he will be representing our district. So what I'd like to always do is to get the audience engaged from Dr. Smith's perspective. How do you use your political process to redistribute wealth? Remember, we've been talking about wealth, and how do we use the political process to redistribute wealth and resources and power? Because a lot of times we see politics, if somebody like you and somebody know you, but the truth is not all about do you know that person, do they like you? We need to learn how to utilize these things. So that's going to be one of the things I want y'all to think about. Where we're not into any type of badgering, that's not what we practice or even do, but we want to have an agenda. Any candidate we bring on the show, we always want to figure out how can their position help us focus on our goal, strategies and solutions to help us and do the things we want to do. So we're going to start off real light. This is what we do in some of our basic questions, Dave. First of all, I've been saying David. It's Dave?
Yeah, you.
Okay. So just tell us, and you were getting started, but just tell us now about yourself first, and you can kind of cover a few things, and then we're going to get into those other switch things. But just about you personally.
Well, currently I'm the Penfield Charter Township Supervisor. I've was born and raised here in Battle Creek. Also, Morgan Road was named after my great grandfather.
Is that right?
Yeah. So we've been here since the 1800s. Camley School was his home, so that's where he lived till they sold the home in 1942 from our family to the McCamley family. That's when it became the school. So we've been around and we've seen Battle Creek grow. I've seen Battle Creek, thriving and now struggling. It seems like a little bit where we're losing jobs. We need to focus on that, of course. But the main thing is we need to work together. So many party issues have torn people apart, torn families apart. It's really a shame, and we're not going to accomplish anything until people come back together and start working together and look at the positives instead of the negatives.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do, y'all. Before we let loose and let Mr. Morgan talk to us, I want the community to understand he already stated to you that he's a Republican, and many of us that's viewing this show, most of you are Democrats, and I'm going to share with you all today where we're going to practice block voting, and group voting. And I'm going to ask y'all to, chime in. I want y'all to become a part of what we're trying to do, because if this is the individual that we feel is the right one, and I don't see no other reason why. And we're going to let him talk, but right now I feel very good about some of the things he's attempted to do. We really need to understand what the block concept of voting is. Doesn't mean you're a Republican, doesn't mean you're a Democrat. It means that we are specializing on an individual because we feel the individual can benefit us. So some things I want to do before we just turn this thing over to our good friend and let Deacon Jones and Minnie ask questions. Politics, as we know it, is relatively new. Now let me explain what I mean by that. The word and the concept first appeared in England around 1529, which is the beginning of black enslavement, okay? So the early stage of the industrialism, the term politics was borrowed from an old French word, and I'm not a French person, but politique, which it emerged from the struggles to control the increased spoil of power and wealth that was produced by the black slaves. So we already been taught throughout our history, everybody know that this country was definitely created by many back of the slaves. So we got all of that, okay? So now we're at a point where we're trying to figure out how we learn to redistribute this wealth in a competitive society, okay? And this is kind of all my introduction I'm going to really go into. In a competitive society, there is little, if any, incentive to look out for the underdog group. So remember, we're going to have questions to make sure all elective officials, whether it's our mayor, whether it's our governor, whether it's our state representative, legislature, we want to make sure is why would you support us if we're not supporting them? So we have to understand if we're going to be an underdog society, that's because for so long we've been out the game. If we're going to come behind, let's just say we come behind and support Dave, we as a community have to come behind his financial support, his verbal support, because for so long we want so much, but we're not willing to put nothing in it. So we're going to kind of show how this works, okay? We have always been the out group that can rest assured that the overclass will make all political decisions. You may be surprised, but I remember a story with Ronald Reagan. He said, well, why have a discussion with the black community? They don't go vote. They're not going to vote for me. Well, guess what? If I was running for an office and I knew there's a certain group that wasn't supporting me, wasn't going to get behind me, why would I have a concern about coming into their community? So I'm just throwing that out before we just let Mr. Morgan take over, because I really believe that you know, he has a heart for people. That's why he's on this show today. He's very close to some of you all know Terrence Todd, and my Doug just told me, matter of fact, Doug, before we even go further, didn't you say y'all used to ref?
We refed a couple of games together a few years ago.
Okay, so he does he know anything about basketball?
Doug carried me.
You any good?
Doug carried me.
Now, Dave, I asked, are you any good?
Yes. Okay, that's nice to say, but you know what you were doing.
Yeah.
It was a pretty easy game to officiate, though, the one I can remember.
Yep.
So let's get that in your thought when we start. If we're going to ask any questions, we need to learn how to play by the rules, y'all. This is a game, and if we don't know the rules, we lose every time. Black Americans have always been excluded from playing politics by the official rules of the game. Every time we sought to play the rules changed, and the game ended. But now we have a chance at the table, and we're here to just really listen and learn, and then try to see how we can, you know, get involved, whether it's state, district, representative. So here we go, Mr. Morgan. First of all, tell us how you got into politics.
Well, and I was frustrated with the system, just like many people were. I was looking at how some communities thrive while others don't thrive. My daughter, you know, I look at her future and what we do at the state level or the community level. Right now I'm at the township level. All the elected officials play a part in how the future is going to move forward.
Can you break that down? What you mean by that? Just for the audience, so that what you mean by play a part?
At the township level, that's more of a community atmosphere, so you're taking care of the local water system. The roads are actually the county. Most people think they're the townships, but they're the county unless you're within a city, and then the city takes care of your roads.
Now in the township, so I know Emmett Township, I know Bedford Township, you're Penfield Township.
Yep.
And what's the other ones in Battle Creek? I just want to make
that's
sure.
it.
That's it?
Yeah.
So there's 3 townships you all, this is the most educated guest audience we have in the state of Michigan, but we want to still educate everybody. I mean the state, literally state. Okay, so y'all, we got Emmett, we have Bedford, and we have Penfield, which is good to know. Now, just for the sake of knowing, if you don't know, don't worry about it. You are the superintendent?
Yeah, supervisor.
Supervisor. So who's the supervisor for Bedford?
Bedford would be Adam Highcliffe.
Okay, Adam Highcliffe. And then, and I'm not putting you in a spot. I don't know. I'm just educating me. Fine. What about Emmett?
Tim Hill.
So in the southeastern district where we're going, he would be the person?
Yeah, for Emmett, yeah.
Is that southeastern area?
Yeah, yes. That's about as southeastern as you're going to get for the townships out of the city.
Okay.
But I think that where southeastern is, where the church is, I believe that may still be Battle Creek. Where does Emmett Township start? Is it on the other side of Cliff?
I'm not sure. Right in that area, right around
I
Sir
think
Pizza.
we're part of the city.
You think so?
I think so. Yes.
We are Terrace? So who would that, so there's no township, it'd be the city.
On the
it'd
other
be the
side,
mayor.
just south of us is Emmett Township.
Okay, so we wouldn't have a township person, ours would be the mayor and all that. Is that correct?
You'd have a city commissioner.
Okay.
I'm not sure
City
which
commissioner.
one's
Okay,
there.
got you. So go ahead. So now that's what your role is right now.
So those are more local,
Okay.
yeah, and then you'll move up at the state level. You're going to create laws that pretty much oversee everything within the state.
So the potholes in the streets, that's not your fault?
That'd be county.
That's county.
But the township, we step in and we do hold the county accountable. For instance, in Penfield, we passed a road millage. Our roads are probably the best in the area.
Okay.
We just completed the road project this year. So
Okay.
if you drive out in Penfield, the local roads are very nice.
Okay.
Some of the state roads still need a little work.
Now, before you go into some of my questions, I heard that you were with the railroad, or you got a little
yeah.
history. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I'm currently, I'm a licensed locomotive engineer. I've been
Okay.
one since 1996.
Okay.
I was a road foreman in charge of Amtrak from Los Angeles to Alpine, Texas for about 6 years. Then I was Chicago to Battle Creek for another 6 years.
So just to educate me, I know my audience may say, well, we're not getting into nothing serious, but I need to know from my own. I fly all the time, but I was told that you can travel on air. I mean on air planes. I mean not planes. What am I saying? Air trains. I got the caboose in my head. What is it really like? Is it when I think of a train, I think of the caboose and everything shaking. But were there seats and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. Well, now in Michigan, we're one of the few states that has high-speed rail.
High-speed rail.
High-speed rails from Kalamazoo to Porter, Indiana. We go up to 125 miles an hour.
Wow.
Everywhere else in Michigan, 79 miles an hour. And
Wow,
then
okay.
CSX has 65, and
Okay.
within Michigan's the max.
Okay, good. Okay, so you are now a township supervisor. The question was, what made you get into politics? What made you decide you want? Your granddad must have been very important since it was named after him. You said your granddad?
Yeah, my great-grandfather.
Great grandfather. So what made you want to get into politics?
When I was younger, I was a coach, and I coached a lot of kids, JoJo Bogan from Michael Cotton, Maurice,
Okay.
Irvin Butler, David, oh my God.
Hart?
David Hart Jr.
Hart, yeah, I had Kenyon Murray on my mind. But
Did you
I
coach
was
Kenyon
about-
Murray too?
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
okay.
Nope. But I coached a lot of kids, and we had kids on the team that came from different economic areas. I mean, I had kids from Lakeview, from Mingus Hills, and I had kids from downtown. And when you look at it, every kid doesn't have the same opportunities, and that's where we need to go. We need to give every kid a chance. We need to put them in a position to be successful, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be a war. So right now, you have the Democratic Party really, pushes for the public school system. That's great. We need to. Then you have the charter schools. We don't need to create a wall and create a war between them. I think we need to work together between everybody and make it a good system and put our kids in a position to be successful. We have way too many politicians that are so locked up in partisan politics, they can't see outside of that. They have to take their orders from the state party and follow those orders regardless what it does to your community. And that's just wrong. And that's where we need to
So
better.
just to educate all of us, let's break down the difference between a charter school and a public school.
Well,
And then name a charter school here in the Battle Creek area.
charter schools, you have Endeavor.
Endeavor.
Is
Okay,
one.
so that's the one by Springfield.
Right.
Okay, so that's a charter school, which means they're governed by who?
They're a privately owned school.
Privately owned school. Okay.
Yep, they have their own regulations. And one of the problems we have with our public school system is the funding. So if a family, if you decide to take your student out of public school and put them in a private school, say Phil or Endeavor, I don't think the public school should lose funding. I think the funding should be maintained. We need to create a level of funding for our public school system so they're not affected if a child's moved. And when they are right now, the schools are drastically affected. And when you start losing revenues like Battle Creek Central has, it really puts them in a position where they aren't as competitive as they used to be. That's where at the state level we need to adjust that. A school shouldn't have to wait until the count date to find out how much funding they're actually going to receive. How can they be prepared? They can't be. But at the same time, if a parent chooses to send their child to charter school or a private school, they should be able to do that too.
So from a political position, Democrats, Republicans, is the Republicans geared more to private schools and charter schools, and are the Democrats geared more to public schools?
Now, I would say Republican side is more geared for giving the parent a choice.
Okay.
So if you want a school of choice, if you decide that, my daughter's going to Lakeview, I don't think they're doing a good job, we feel that you should have the right to say, okay, I'm going to send her to Penfield.
Okay.
That's where we come in.
But Penfield's still public school.
Public school.
Right.
Or have the choice to go to
what does do anyone know, and I'm for sure someone can answer, does it cost any money to go to Endeavor?
No, state still funds it.
So I'm not getting it then. So
I know what you're getting ready to ask, because I have the same question. So if a kid leaves, Endeavor is a private school, and so that is state funded also?
Yeah, they receive funding.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I thought it was. I thought the money came from somewhere else, because the money follows the kid.
Right.
No matter what.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So I'm saying if Battle Creek Central get, it's almost sound like slaves, but that's another topic.
No.
So the Battle Creek people, let's say Johnny get 5,000 if he stays at Central, but does he get 5,000 if you go to Endeavor?
I'm not really, I can't tell you for sure.
I got you.
What I'm saying is we need to protect the funding of the public school system regardless what you do. But I don't think we should take the right away from a parent to decide the best interest they feels for their child. That's where I'm at.
We're about learning more about you and promoting you, but I would like my producers, we really want to have another show, because we don't know because I really thought private school. My private school that I had, I didn't get a dime from the state. Okay, so I want to know the difference between the private school, like an Endeavor, and the public school, because if Endeavor is getting the same stuff that the private, other schools are getting, it just don't seem like it's private.
There's a difference between private and charter.
Right, that's
there's a slight there's a difference there.
St. Phil's private, so they receive no state funding. Endeavor, the money follows the child to the charter school.
I'm just saying Endeavor. So what makes Endeavor different from Battle Creek Central? Which is not why you're here, but that's something I want to know.
Yeah.
What makes Endeavor different from Lakeview, from Battle Creek? So I'm for sure there's a lot of children, parents that go to Endeavor. Why you pick Endeavor over another school? But let's get back to you. So you got into politics to try to help make things fair. Any other reason why you got into politics?
Well, I'm very nonpartisan, hence why I was a Democrat, now I'm a Republican.
That's one of my questions down lower, but go ahead.
And I'm saying that because I'm not controlled by a party. And so many people I've met, they can't do anything without the party telling them what to do. You need people in office that's going to do what's in the best interest of the community, of the families, of the children, and that's where we need to be. And I've been on both sides, and right now I'm on the Republican side, and I'm glad I am. I'm very conservative, financially and government-wise, a little more moderate socially. But the people locally, between the parties that I've worked with, the Republican Party, you need to give them a chance locally. I'm not talking about national politics. We're never, ever going to control national
let's deal with
politics.
local.
Because,
local.
Yeah, right.
Local.
Locally, you need to look at both parties and decide who really has your best interest, because when I was the chair of the Democratic Party, we would talk about issues, and then we'd hear stuff from the state party, and I would talk about it. And then I decide, I'm going to go over there and go to one of their meetings. And so I went to a meeting, I got involved with them a little bit. We did a few things together, community events and whatnot, which actually, the Republican Party and Democratic Party, we came together for a couple veterans issues, which was nice. And then I started seeing that they really weren't saying what I was told they were saying, and they were a little bit different, very pro.
Make sure the volume's up. I'm sorry, they're saying they can't hear you.
Oh,
we're good.
okay.
No, the station's good. Facebook Live not hearing you. Are the volume up? Do you have the volume at max? Because it's. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay. Well, I think the main thing is we just need to work together.
Okay.
I've been on both sides. There's very good people who are on the Democratic side, people that believe in the party system, and the same on the Republican side.
Okay.
And if we can, let's tear down that wall and come together, we can bring our community back together and do a lot of great things.
I think the dialogue is great. We're going to concentrate on local, okay? So let's stay local. And I want to give a challenge. You that's listening to me, a challenge. If you can tell me without Googling who's the Republican local chairman or who's the Democrat local chairman, where is the office, and let us go to both boring meetings. Hopefully I don't fall asleep.
Yeah.
Get about 20 of y'all, we're going to have peace afterwards. But if somebody can tell us, just for the sake, because we may be a group of people that don't even know. I'm being honest. I'm new, so I'm going to justify and say I should know. But I'm going to ask my esteemed host, close man, man of integrity, man of God, great, great man. I'm going to just see. Who's the chairman of the Republican Party, Doug Jones?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. Who's the chairman of the Democratic Party, Doug Jones?
That would be, I don't know that either.
So with
there
that
we go.
being said, I wonder how many even know. Now we got one more question. Doug Jones, where is the office of the Republican Party?
That would even be further from a thought. I have no idea.
What about the Democrat office? So we need some direction.
There you go.
And I'm talking to all of you Republicans and all of you Democrats. We don't even know where y'all meet at. All right? Now, Terrence Todd is somewhere in the audience floating. You got a question?
It's, Matt Davis said, Gene Birchfield from
Right.
the GOP.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, who said that? Okay, whoever said that, look, man, we going.
Matt Davis.
Matt, I got you on some pizza. We going.
700 Tower Road.
700 Tower Road. We're going. I want about 10 of us, y'all. My staff and about 10, let's attend both meetings. I don't know if they meet monthly, but let's find out the date they meet and let's attend so we can know what we're dealing with. Okay, let's continue on. So why are you running for? What are you running for? And then tell us why.
Well, I'm running for state representative in the 62nd district, currently held by Dr. Bizon, who's
Okay.
done a wonderful job. He's very moderate, I would say, within the community. He's done
Now,
a
is
lot
Dr.
of good.
Bizon the individual that Terrence Todd and I even believe his wife works in that office?
Yeah, let me tell you
Okay.
about that. So
Okay.
here's something that most people won't know. So
Tell us about it.
Terrence Todd, and he's here, and I was, but he's the highest elected official African American in the state, I believe. He's the vice chair of the state Republican Party. He's from Calhoun County. He's a Republican. So that most people wouldn't know that. One of the highest people running for office in this area is also an African American, John James.
Well, hold on. Say that about Terrence Todd again. He's the what now?
Well, Terrace is the vice president of the state local party, the vice chair.
All right, y'all. Hold on. It didn't work.
Michigan GOP.
Okay.
But knowing that, so within our community, we have pretty good representation at a high level, for our community, regardless if they're African American, white, Hispanic. But we don't need a political party telling us now he's evil because he put a different letter in front of his name.
Right.
And that's when they change, like I was voted as the chair of the Democratic Party unanimously. They love me, but then I decided to switch because of a couple issues. Now I'm sure I'll be attacked, even though I'm the exact same person. I'm the same person they voted for before, and that's where it's wrong. You need to vote for the party. You need to take care of your families, not let a political party tell you how to think.
You mean vote for
and
the
I'm
people?
not talking. I'm talking about both sides.
You mean vote for the person?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause you said party.
Because
Vote
there's
for the
good.
person.
There's good
I
on
was
both
trying
sides.
to
There's
set
bad
the
on both
applause
sides.
sound. I got a device
Oh,
where I had a
okay.
bunch of fake people to applaud.
Uh-huh.
So when you said Terrence Todd, I pushed it, it didn't go off.
Uh-oh, no applause for terrorists.
But I was trying my best to give him a shout out. Terrence
Yeah.
Todd, I'm proud of you, brother.
You know,
I'm proud of you.
and that's something our community should be proud of.
Absolutely.
Now here's a controversial one that I'm going to say, and maybe I shouldn't say on this show, but I'm going to say it.
Say it.
You know, Governor Snyder.
Governor Snyder
Okay.
from Battle Creek.
Everybody, you know, some people are
Lakeview.
okay, the Democrats have painted him an awful person, but now think about our children. Here we have the sitting governor of the state, graduated from Lakeview, a member of our community, really a member of the Battle Creek family. But because he put an R in front of his name, now the Democrats in this community will attack him unmercifully. Instead of going to our kids, I was at Lakeview School the other day, last week. I walked around, I didn't see a picture of Governor Snyder. So I asked my daughter, we went to the State of the Union. I asked her after State of the Union, do you know where Governor Snyder went to school? Now she goes to his school, she sits in the same seats that he might have sat in. She had no idea. And I thought, now isn't that terrible? That within a school system, you've got a sitting governor, the sitting governor of the state, and the children don't even know it. Why wouldn't the teachers be saying, you might be sitting in the same seat as the governor, you know, your potential's unlimited. You know, it should be a positive. But politics will tear people down if you don't have the right letter in front of your name. That's what's wrong.
Well, I want to say, and I appreciate that, but we're going to be a little more wiser than that. Mm-hmm. We're not going to allow a letter on your name to decide who we support, because Terrence Todd has a big old R next to his name, and I'm supporting him. Okay, and I think we're going to we are an intelligent group of people that you have the big R, but we may support you because we like you. Mr. Snyder may have had some challenges that have created some challenges, but this is not about Snyder. I would love to have the governor here, but we want you to know that we're bigger than whether you are R or a D. We're into the person, because at the end of the day, there were some good R's and some good D's and some bad D's and some bad R's. Is it right, D?
Right.
All right. Okay, so did you have a question, Mike?
Oh, it was just that someone said, speak up, Dave.
I'm trying.
He trying.
I'm
He's doing
trying.
his best. It's our device, y'all. It's probably our device. So, why are you running then? Why are you running?
I think we can make change. Our slogan's "Let's stand together," and I think you know, I understand the Democratic side. I understand the Republican side. There's great people on both sides. I think we need to focus on the positives, bring people back together, and I think great things can happen in Battle Creek. If in the surrounding area, all the way to Albion, that's another community that's been challenged. Right now in Battle Creek, we've seen businesses move out. We have dysfunction all over with government. One, labor. I'm a member of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers. We always seem to think it's the unions against big business. Well, it doesn't have to be, because neither one can exist without the other. So why fight? I mean, we should be working together to bring jobs to Battle Creek. If they're union jobs, great. Business likes union jobs. We can work together.
Well, you know, first of all, I respect you and salute you that you came on the show. But I want to try to get the conscience of the people. Doug Jones, we're coming back to you.
Yes, sir.
Doug Jones, great man, I have great respect for. I love him dearly. To my knowledge, you've been voting Democrat all your life. And we have a Republican here with us that used to be a Democratic chairman. What would make you consider voting for a Republican? And what could we tell Dave that is, because the truth is, the black votes are in many areas majority Democrats. We got the Terrence Todds out there, but the majority of us were Democrats. And now we have some open-minded brothers we're not really saying we're voting for R or D. If I vote, I'm voting for Dave, okay? If I vote, I'm voting for Terrence. However, that would still follow us. What are some things that you've been taught, Doug, that made you always go left and right with the D's versus the R? And I'm for sure he probably already know, because he used to be a chairman. But tell us what you How would you deal with that, Doug? How would you show a difference?
Well, as a young man growing up, if your family voted Democrat, you would just automatically voted Democrat without really totally understanding the person behind the D or the person behind the R. You just did it because that's what you did. And it was almost like blacks were Democrats and whites were Republicans. And that's kind of how it was growing up. So, now as an adult, it's about the person. And it really is about the person. It's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about what can you do for our community? What can you do for me? What can you do for my children or my grandchildren? So it's not really about the D and the R.
So with that being said, and I want to go back to you, I want to know who can change this. Tell me who makes this major call. So let's say Terrence Todd is running for a local office, Dave Morgan running for a local office, Dr. Bison working for a local or state. So let's say local state. And I like all three of you all. But I don't want to vote for Donald Trump.
Oh, you can
The way
split,
it's set up, you can't split in the primary, but you can in the...
Yeah, general.
Who can change and make the primary just like the general? Is that... Where that law come from?
That would be at the state level where I'm running.
You could.
You're right.
And what
If
is
I
that
win.
terminology called?
Well,
Let's say I think the Republicans, listen to me good. You have people that like some of your candidates. I mean, the third guy in charge is Terrence Todd. Love him. Love Dave Morgan. Love John Bison. However, if we're in the if we're in the primary race, I'm not voting for Donald Trump. So that's going to knock you three out. How can we change that?
Yeah, that would be at the state level, and that can be done, and that's something maybe we can work on when I get up there between community leaders. Because really, you should have the most sacred thing you have is a vote. That's your voice.
Yes.
And it shouldn't be governed, too much government involvement telling you
Yes.
creating walls
See,
between your ability
that's
to do
one
it.
of the things I would be trying to push, and I think that would benefit the Republicans Party, who is trying to pull in black votes. I think we need to get rid of black votes and white votes and start Hispanic votes, Latino votes, and start voting for the person.
Right.
I think the person needs to be the one. If you came to my church, I truly believe you're going to come because you want to come. I don't want you showing up a week before election. Mm-hmm. I don't care if you black or white. Mm-hmm. Ain't that Michael Jackson's song?
Yeah. I'm not moonwalking, just so we know.
Boy, rest in peace, Mike. Okay, I don't know how peaceful, but rest, brother. All right, so let's go a little further. Tell us some important issues facing our community.
Well, and I think taxes, for one. We need tax reform. Nobody ever's been taxed into prosperity. It'll never happen. Government I'm against mandates too.
Okay.
Every tax that's put in seems to never end. So somebody will come up with a mandate, this is a great idea. Well, it may be now, but in 10 years it may not be. And if we can't constantly readjust where our dollars are going, we're not going to have enough dollars where they're needed. Right now is infrastructure, where there's a huge need there. Penfield, like I said, we're sitting good, but if you go out to Emmett, their millage didn't pass and their roads aren't very good. So we need to do something about that. The funding of the public school system needs to be balanced and consistent, where the schools know what they're going to have for the school year. It shouldn't come down to a count one day to decide how much funding they're going to have. This is after school's already started. How do you figure out how many teachers you need if you don't even know what your finances are going to be? We need to put people in a position to be successful. Our kids are listening to everything we say, and all this back and forth and attacks between the two parties is doing nothing but bringing our kids down.
Okay.
And everything we do is a reflection on what they're going to grow up to be like.
Hey, Dave, you that's listening to me, I'm going to ask this question. Dave already probably know the answer. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to see if you can answer this for me. Then we're going to have Dave address it. So Dave is running, me being a former Calhoun County Commissioner, I know a little bit about how the election process runs. So Dave is running. There's going to be a primary race. If you're listening to me, is anybody in the Democratic Party that is running? If you are, or if they are, if there's a name out there, send that name so I can ask Mr. Morgan if he know that person. But there has to, before there's a general election, there has to be a primary. You're going to be running against other Republicans, and that Democrat person will be running against other Democrats, correct?
Yes.
So I'm just curious about the other Democrat person, because we know the Republican side. He's here. He's on the show. I've seen him in the community. He's been around. Who's that Democrat person? Because I don't know. Because I would love to hear from you. So let's just wait about 3 minutes. If you know that person, chime in. If not, I'm going to have to ask my esteemed colleague friend here. So, Michael, is anybody answered that question yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So before we go 1, 2, 3, is there somebody that's going to be running on the Democratic side in the 62nd district? Going once, going twice. Okay. So do you know of anybody that may be running or have ran, or do you know a person's name?
Yeah, well, I believe Jim Hodsmus filed for, he started his campaign committee. I don't know if he's actually filed for the seat.
Okay. Jim Hosman.
Yeah.
Okay. Doug Jones, you know Jim Hosman?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, Hods.
Okay. Well, we're going to just continue to listen to you and enjoy what you're saying. So what my understanding is, do you have anybody on the Republican side run against you?
No. So far, so good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a real good thing.
That's a good thing. And the Republicans are endorsing you.
Well, they can't endorse. We don't endorse. There's a difference.
Don't endorse primaries.
There's a big difference in the Democrats and the Republicans.
Okay.
If you want me to talk about it.
Yeah, I do.
And that's another reason. We saw what happened between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. The Republicans don't get involved in primaries, period. I mean, we go to our convention, the state convention, they actually have voting booths where you go in and cast your vote.
Okay.
On the Democratic side, when you go to the convention, you have to stand there and raise your hand in front of everybody on who you're voting for. And it puts a lot of pressure on you. So sometimes you don't necessarily get the person you want, the people want, because you've got a lot of people watching what you do. So I think it's a far better system on the Republican side that everybody votes in privacy, just like you do when you go and vote for your candidate. Think about what it would be like if you had to stand there and raise your hand in front of everybody and tell them who you were voting for while people are standing there watching you. So that's one thing, but that's something small. I think the big thing is there's so many more positives in Battle Creek than negatives. We look at Battle Creek, what the fathers did, the African-American fathers did when they went down and shook the kid's hand, each student's hand when they were arriving at school the first day. That was great. And I saw it on Facebook, and I know Randy
need to do
Johnson.
it again, but absolutely, yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. So I'm here thinking about something. I'm just thinking about something. If this is accurate, you can say yeah or nay to it. Voting is a right and a privilege. I think it's something that we should all personally consider if that's what you want to do. I think the local is really major. And so I could see, and I'm not endorsing anyone yet, because from a 501c3 I can't, but from a church perspective I will, and I will eventually. So I'm hearing today that as a general election, I could vote for you, which you are a Republican, and then when I get to that presidential, I just don't vote at all.
Oh yeah, you can do that. You can actually.
Did I catch that, y'all? See, look what I'm saying. I mean, the truth is, I expect him to support his president, and that's cool. I have no problem with that. I expect Terrence Todd to support his president. I have no issue with that. I respect men and women for what they believe in. But I think from a local perspective, Dave could do a great job for us. I know Terrence Todd could do a great job for us. And if I'm not really that concerned about that president position, because I don't want him to lose my vote because I feel I'm threatened. I'm going to give you the options. I'm not telling y'all to do this, but understand, until the laws are changed as a The law goes right now, if you vote in the general election, you have to vote one ticket. That's just the general election ways. He gets in office, he can fix that, and then we can have that liberty to vote. And that's something we probably should have talked about a long time ago, because if we're going to ever support people, then we got to make that become a policy. And that's just something. Doug, what you think about what I'm saying? Does that make any sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to him. It's not fair to Terrence Todd. It's not fair to John Bison. This is not about him, but is he planning on running for something else?
Oh, Dr. Bison, state representative, Dr. Bison's running for the Senate. So the state Senate for Mike Knopf's seat.
Is that right?
So, yep, and Dr. Bison's done a great job.
So you're going to be running for the state.
Right.
And he's going to be running for the Senate.
Yeah.
And y'all both win. We have a friend in Lansing and in Washington.
Mm-hmm. And let me throw one more thing in. Dr. Bison, we've had one African-American person go to Lansing in the history of this community. And that was when Dr. Bison took Terrence Todd. So it was a Republican that took the first African-American to Lansing. And that says something. And I'm not saying anything bad against the Democrats, not at all. So don't take it as an attack. What I'm saying is what they portray the Republicans to be locally is not the case at all.
Yeah, but we're more mature than that.
Yeah, good.
Trust me,
Yes.
we're not. That group you're talking about, you know, that's that group. This is an intelligent group of people that understand that Bison picked Terrence Todd.
He picked the best person.
Bottom line,
He picked the best person for the community.
I'm not saying the
And that's what you do.
Republican picked. I'm saying Bison, Dr. Bison, picked a qualified brother named Terrence Todd, and you would do the same thing. And that's how you keep us understanding your vision. Because we would, at this new generation and the generation I'm moving, we're not going to get caught up in the R's or the D's. Okay? And so that generation need to understand there's some intelligent young people that's really here to listen. And there's many people listening to you, and we hope that, you know, I do a debate in town hall meeting, and we hope that whoever going to be that Democrat guy or lady, that they'll come and be willing to do a debate, because right now we appreciate you talking to us. Hey, tell me what are some of your priorities? What's the first thing you would tackle when you get into office? That's by faith. Did you hear me? By faith.
By faith?
Meaning when you get into office.
Okay.
I didn't say
if
you. I said when you get into
okay,
office.
I like that.
Faith, brother.
Right, there you go.
This is the substance of things hoped for.
I think,
Okay.
you know, the
You didn't
thing,
know the rest of it.
I understand, I love it. One thing you have to realize,
Watch out, Terry
there's a
Todd.
lot of qualified people who could be a state representative.
Okay.
But there's so much talent in the community, so you need to surround yourself with the best of the best. So
Okay.
I'll be reaching out in the community. We'll be putting together teams to represent different areas of the city, because
Okay.
there is a big difference. We need to do what's right for our community, not vote in Lansing what's right for a political party. Now,
Right.
of course, I'll be up there in the Republican caucus. I'll hear everything, but then I want to bring the bills back to our community, talk to leaders, find out how they affect us, and that's the way I'm going to vote. I'll be there representing our community, not a political party. Now, I love the Republican Party, and I'm saying that from a local level. They couldn't be any better, honestly.
We just didn't know.
I really don't think. Right, you don't know.
Nobody knew him. And what's the name of the guy again, the chairman?
Jeannie Birchfield.
It's a lady?
Yep, Jeannie. Yep.
Hi, Jeannie. Why don't you make yourself known, Jeannie? Contact us. Reach out to some of the community leaders that is predominantly African Americans, so we can hear. We've been hearing about Terrence Todd. We're now hearing about Dave Morgan. We should hear about you.
Oh, she'll come on.
She should come on, but we should have heard about her before.
Right.
You know, because no one should be scared of anybody, because nobody booger bears. You know, nobody should be scared of anybody. We're just real people want to get answers so we can make great solutions. So Dave, one of the first things you would tackle once you get into office, you know, I mentioned that earlier, what we like, you mentioned about coming together. So you used to be a Democratic chairman in the Calhoun County, which you already said. Now give it to me. Why did you switch? Now you can sell it to me.
Well,
why did you switch to the R when you were a D?
I was very moderate either way. So when you looked at me as a Democrat, some people thought, yeah, he kind of leans a little bit towards the Republican side. Now I'm on the Republican side, and some people say, well, you know what, he's got some things about him that might be a little bit more Democrat.
What year was
but that's
that
irrelevant.
when you was the Democrat chairman?
3 years ago.
So
3,
the
4
people
years
like
ago.
the NAACP president, what's his name?
Kerry Whitfield.
So people like Kerry Whitfield.
Kerry was my campaign manager.
He was your campaign manager,
Right.
and then you have my brother who is over in Bedford.
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson.
Great guy.
So y'all was all working together.
Oh, yeah.
At one time. Was
And we're still real close.
Was Terrence
We're
Todd
still-
with you at the time as a Democrat?
Yeah, Terrace. Yeah.
Was that during the
Terrace
Mark
was in
Showers era?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all was all okay. I got you. I'm with you. And then you said goodbye.
Right. And one reason was, you know, Terrace decided he was going to run for state rep first, and he didn't really get a warm reception. And
From the who?
From some of the local elite Democrats, what I would call them. Not the regular people, not the voters, because when you go outside of the
we know
political
when the
parties,
voters, we
right,
got that part.
everybody's pretty much the same.
But the
on
other
both
folks
sides.
that at the meetings didn't give my man a shot?
Well, I didn't think they really got behind to push him forward. And people asked me as the chair who I thought would be a good candidate to run for state rep. And I said Terrace Todd and Lynn Ward Gray were my two selections. And not selections because we don't select, but two people I thought would do a nice job.
But you went night and day. We got Lynn Ward Gray and Terrence Todd. That's like black and white.
Yeah, well.
Night and day in their views, but I get that. I get that.
So for me, it wasn't I left the party, it left me. I had some personal conflicts with a couple people in there, and I won't get into that totally, but it came to the point I thought, do I want my 11-year-old dog, Jaden, and she was 9 at the time, do I want her around this? And I finally came to the conclusion, no, that I wouldn't want my daughter around this. It got to the point, well, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
So here we are, and we've been treated
time
great.
Time is flying too. We got 10 minutes already. So, my question: what you say to that young man that says, "Forget politics. I ain't trying to vote. Y'all all fake crooks." Well, they said about preachers too, so don't take it personal. Yeah. But how would you encourage that man or woman to go ahead and go vote?
Well, I would say don't let people tell you, like, in a perspective of a big group, what they're like. Like, right now, in this next election, I guarantee every Republican, the Democrats are going to have commercials with Donald Trump in them. There'll be a commercial with me and Donald Trump. Guaranteed. And
well,
it's not true.
No, we understand.
So
don't hurt yourself.
You need to
We're
look
smarter
at,
than that.
Yeah,
don't hurt yourself.
You need to look at each individual
Yeah.
and see what they're really like. Terrace is a
We're smarter
hero
than
of
that.
our community.
Yeah.
Kerry Whitfield's a hero. Randy Johnson, you guys.
Yeah.
We do a lot. You know, you've done a lot of good for the community. And the main thing is the kids. And I go back to that because they're our future. And if we tarnish their views on politics like there's no hope, if we tarnish their views that there's no future, that's what we're going to get. 82% of the people in prison in Michigan did not finish high school. 82%. Okay. We have got to break that. We've got to stop it. We've got to make sure these kids get through school, do what we can to put them in a position to be successful, and move forward together, not as Democrats, Republicans.
Well, I'm going to say
fathers,
this to
mothers.
I'm going to say this to Mr. Terrence Todd, since he's the third ranking. I'm going to share it with you. I really want you all to go back to the Republican Party and just say there's a new group of educated people. Mm-hmm. We don't have to. We know if I saw Terrence Todd and got Donald Trump pictured in the back, I already know that's a Republican thing.
Well, you would
That's
see.
not going to change my vote for Terrence. So we're intelligent. So we don't need a group to tell us certain things. We just want to know about you. Mm-hmm. That's how you get us to put your name on Dave Morgan, because I know him. I don't care nothing about what the Republicans didn't do right. I'm voting for Dave Morgan because I know I can call Dave and his phone will somehow get through. That's what we're voting for. We're voting for relationship. We're voting for people, and I believe you're an honest guy, and I think you do the right thing. And I think the audience is that intelligent. So don't ever worry about that. I mean, I would love to see Terrence Todd or you with Donald Trump in the back. He don't even know y'all.
That's-
Okay, anything you want to say, Doug, before I go?
Yeah, I was going to say to Dave, at the local and state level, it's good to, you have a lot of influence directly, with, people. It's when it gets to that national level sometimes when things get kind of murky.
Right.
And people are going to be influenced mainly by what they hear, not by what they know. So my message to you would be, as you climb that ladder, as you get closer and closer to Washington, D.C., don't lose the agenda. Keep the same agenda, because the influence and the things that you did to work to get to where you are at the community level, then at the state level, and those people will follow you at that national level. And I think sometimes when it gets to that level is when people start jumping ship. Okay, it becomes more political than it becomes social or personal.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Good point. So tell us how we can reach you. If how can people reach you if you want to get on your team or have additional questions? How can we reach Dave Morgan? Everybody listening, Dave's going to tell us how we can reach him, join his team if that's what we want to do.
Yeah, on my website, which is davemorgan62nd.com, 62ND, davemorgan62nd.com. You can go there and send a message to me. Plus, I'm all over town. So you can reach out and find me through Terrace, pretty much anybody.
And when is the primary again?
That'll be in August.
In August. So we got some time.
We'll know if there's going to be a primary. I think the cutoff date's April.
And if not, it will be November 4th for the actual general election?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, you know what? We are, we're going to just keep listening, praying for the desires of God to take place. This is a start. And you've been a straight guy. You have attended the different meetings. And, man, we really thank you for coming, and we appreciate it. Give us we got 5 minutes, so I need you to take about 2 minutes and give us something you want to say to your people on Facebook and on AccessVision, which will come on twice in a week.
Oh,
you
nice.
got 2 minutes.
Well, I would say just don't give up. Don't let the national politics in Washington tear you down, make you think everything in the world's evil, everything's got to be a fight. It doesn't. The best thing we can do is work together for our children's sake. Keep doing what we're doing, what you're doing down at the school. Go down and meet the kids when they're coming in. That makes a huge difference. Focus on the positives. Like I said, we have the sitting governor of Michigan from our community. Tony McGee, former NFL player from Battle Creek Central. We should be looking at Bob James, played pro baseball, Battle Creek Central. We should be looking at some of these people. Joel Manby from Lakeview. He's now
I was writing those names down. And
he's the CEO of SeaWorld. Most people don't know that. There's so many success stories from our community that we should be talking to our children about.
Debbie Daring.
There you go. I mean, that's what we should, spend a show on that. Focus on some of the positives, because there's a lot more positives than negatives. Don't let a political party tell you how to run your life and who to, vote for.
And those names are great. And I like to just add, names are great. But if we could get to know those names and how those names can help us further our agenda, it's better than the name. Okay? So we want to know more than their names. I always end by just, giving a shout out to my mom and my dad. And I know y'all been out watching the Black Panther. I know y'all been out there. Listen, y'all spent about $8. Popcorn. Great morale. You was excited for about a day. If we could bring those resources, we can fix our own community. I'm still about empowering ourselves. And then we can sit with our politicians and encourage them with an agenda and trust they'll keep their word. That's the message, y'all. This is a big game out here. We must become competitors, not just entertainment only, and not just, I need somebody to make me happy. It's about leading, controlling your own so you can really change your life. Hey, a shout out to my late father, Hugh Smith Sr., his mother, Gussie Smith. and his father, Edward West Smith, where I got my name from. On my mother's side, Paddle Perry, Leo Del Perry Sr. is his name, and Ruby Elizabeth Perry, and of course my mother. Now listen, y'all, remember the Hall of Fame, the unsung hero. Please go on my website, vote for somebody. It's going down in about 3 days. The top 5 will win a $100 scholarship for them and also a plaque with their name on it. Go on the website and put somebody in. We always end with a prayer, Dave. All right. And again, my man here, Father, we thank you. We thank you for Dave. We thank you for his courage. We thank you for his passion. We thank you for his heart. And the will of God will always be done.